high. But let me go back to the issue about water wastage. Every gallon of water wasted by every citizen, by every resident in this country, they're literally depriving another person of 1 gallon of water that can do something important.
True.
Water to drink, water to bathe, and we have to show some empathy. We can't be taking a position here that we need to have all the water that we can get and do not show any empathy for others, so that we waste water to do our lawns, to wash our cars and so on. I mean, come on. Even the way in which we use water to bathe, to wash dishes and so on, just have it running continuously. That is a lack of empathy. And what you're doing is that you're putting increased pressure on the system. Now, I am of the firm view, and obviously we're not going to do it anytime soon, certainly not before the next general elections, but I'm of the firm view that sometime in the near future, that water rates have to be increased, have a threshold to protect the poor and vulnerable, but above and beyond certain consumption, to charge people a higher rate because the water is so cheap they're wasting it. The only way to control the usage or the profligate use of water in this country is to set the water rates, not to make it unreasonably high, but to set it in such a way that if you use water profligately, then you have to pay for it. But when you're paying $22 for 1,000 gallon of water, there's no incentive to conserve. In fact, some people too behave so helpless, they didn't want to catch the water when it drizzles. Because you see, sometimes you may get a light shower of rain. It will be sufficient to fill a few drums, but it's not sufficient to put water in Potworks Dam. It's not sufficient to refill the aquifers in order to supply water through the main distribution system. But people can help themselves by harvesting water, by having drums. The irony about it, every home in this country has a garbage drum, but not every home has a water drum. So again, let us show some empathy, and let us also try to resolve the issue by conserving water and also doing some water harvesting to some extent. So even when we have light showers, we can get water in our cisterns or whatever catchment we may have at home.
Okay, before we move on with the water situation, before we move on with that, I was reading a write-up where it was mentioned that the hopeless candidate for the St. George area, he has been mentioning the water tanks that have been distributed, that they're being used as election tools. You heard about that, I'm sure, Prime Minister. What's your reaction to that? And I think he has mentioned also about the food vouchers. We're using them as election tools to win an election.
Well, you know, the usual cheap politics coming from people like Serpent. I mean, Serpent is another example. Go and educate yourself. Get some letters behind your name so that you can make a better contribution, so we don't have to be engaging you in this low-level politics. You know, I mean, the mantra really is to rule or ruin. So they can't run the country. Nobody wants them. So they're trying to ruin the country. Everything for them is some low-level politics. And it's precisely how they think, because I think Seven is really articulating what he would have done. The reality is we are giving these tanks to constituents based on need, not based on political support. In fact, in my case, I'm not even sure who these tanks are given to, because I have one of my constituents, Kem Hodge, who is literally going to people and offering them the tanks based on need, not based on the political support.